This is the story of Lady and the Tramp. You can read along with me in your book. Let's begin now. One snowy Christmas, Darling received a very special gift from her husband, Jim. She unwrapped the brightly wrapped box, and out popped a cute little puppy wearing a bright red ribbon. "Oh, how sweet," said Darling. She decided to call the puppy Lady. When Lady was 6 months old, Jim gave her a bright blue collar with a license. Lady proudly showed it to her two friends, Jock and Trusty. Jock was a Scottish terrier, while Trusty was an old bloodhound. "She's a full-grown lady," said Jock. A few weeks later, Jock and Trusty found Lady lying by her water bowl. She looked sad. "What's wrong, lassie?" asked Jock. Lady told them that Jim and Darling were acting strange before. Trusty told her that Jim and Darling were expecting a baby. "Oh," said Lady, still confused. "What's a baby?" she asked. "Why, babies are a little bundle of—" But just before Jock could complete his sentence, a voice was heard behind them. Trouble. The trio turned around only to see a scruffy but handsome dog named Tramp. When the baby moves in, the dog moves out," he said. 2 days later, the baby arrived. Jim and Darling were excited. Lady came to their room to find Darling singing a lullaby to the baby. She put the baby to sleep in the cradle. Jim lifted Lady and brought her to the cradle. When Lady saw the baby, she was smiling with happiness. "Everything is going to be all right," she said to herself. But one day, Jim and Darling were going out to see some friends. Aunt Sarah came over to watch the baby. She brought her two Siamese cats with her too. While Aunt Sarah was busy with the baby, the cats made a mess out of the house. They tore the curtains, destroyed the furniture, and frightened the goldfish and canary. Lady tried to stop them, but it was too late. Aunt Sarah arrived on hearing the noise. "Look at this mess!" she cried. The cats pretended to be injured. "Oh, my babies! That wicked animal!" Aunt Sarah was furious with Lady. Aunt Sarah brought Lady to the pet store. "I want a good strong muzzle," she said to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper brought a muzzle and tied it around Lady's snout. Terrified, Lady slipped out of Aunt Sarah's arms and rushed out onto the street. Cars, wagons, and trucks drove everywhere. She ran to an alleyway side where a bunch of stray dogs chased her. Lady reached a dead end. Frightened, she hid behind a barrel. Just as the dogs were about to pounce, another stray dog jumped in front of them to save Lady. It was Tramp. He fought them fiercely. The stray dogs quickly ran away. Tramp took Lady to the city zoo where they met a beaver. The beaver, using his sharp teeth, bit through the ropes of the muzzle and set Lady free. "It's off," said Lady. When it was evening, Tramp took Lady to Tony's restaurant. Tony and his assistant Joe served Tramp and Lady the delicious spaghetti of old time. Both the dogs enjoyed their meal. By accident, Lady and Tramp ate the same string of spaghetti. It looked like as if they were kissing. Lady and Tramp fell in love immediately. Later, they walked up a hill where they could see the whole city. Both the dogs gazed into the night sky and fell asleep under the stars. When it was morning, Lady had to get home to the baby to care for him. As they walked down the path, Tramp spotted a hen house. "Follow me," he said. Tramp began barking loudly as the chickens ran around, clucking and cackling. Feathers flew everywhere. Lady and Tramp ran out of the hen house and onto the street again. But when Tramp turned around, he noticed that Lady was not with him. The dog catcher arrived and caught her. Lady was in tears as she was taken to her cell. Many dogs had been caught by the dog catcher. They stared at Lady's collar with sadness, as they wanted a home too. After a while, the dog catcher came and took Lady back to Aunt Sarah. As punishment for running away, Aunt Sarah tied Lady to her doghouse by a chain. She was so frightened, embarrassed, not even her friends Jock and Trusty could make her feel better. Suddenly, a huge rat scurried through the yard. Lady began barking furiously. The rat crawled up the house and entered through a window into the baby's room. But Tramp heard her cries. He rushed to her aid. "Hurry! There's a rat in the baby's room!" Tramp dashed into the house and up the Tramp dashed into the house and up the stairs, straight into the baby's room. In the darkness, he could see the rat scurrying towards the crib. A terrible fight broke between Tramp and the rat. During the fight, the rat injured Tramp's paw. Tramp howled in pain. Suddenly, he saw the rat crawling onto the baby's crib. With a mighty snarl, Tramp pounced on the rat and killed it. The noise woke up Aunt Sarah. She rushed to the baby's room and saw Tramp licking his injured paw. "You vicious brute!" she cried as she pushed Tramp into the closet. Lady came to the scene as well, but Aunt Sarah dragged Lady by the chain to the basement. She immediately called the dog catcher to have Tramp taken away. A while later, Jim and Darling came home. They noticed the dog catcher's wagon outside their house. They saw the dog catcher coming out dragging poor limping Tramp. At that time, Lady burst out of the basement and ran to the baby's room. Jim, Darling, and Aunt Sarah followed her. Lady barked at the covered curtain. Jim lifted the cover up and saw the dead rat. Jock and Trusty heard the commotion. We've got to stop that wagon," cried Trusty. Both the dogs followed the path of the dog catcher's wagon. They raced after it, barking fiercely. The frightened horses bolted. The wagon overturned, and the door sprung open. Tramp was free. Jim and Darling were grateful to Tramp for saving their baby, that they bought him a collar and license. Now he was part of the family as well. The next Christmas, Lady and Tramp celebrated the holiday with their own family. 4 adorable puppies. The end.